Well, ABC's News Deputy Political Director Ben Siegel joins us to break down what we can expect out of this trip. Well, Ben, why is Iowa the first presidential stop as Trump starts traveling weekly before midterm elections?
I think Iowa is very close to the president's political heart. You'll remember that this was the first place he was ever on the ballot in 2016. He finished in second in the presidential caucus there to Ted Cruz, but it really did catapult him to the front of that Republican primary field as really a serious, viable Republican candidate for president. So he was there again in 2024, and I spent a month there on the road and saw how many Iowans really love the president. And then he really had a commanding victory in the 2024 primary. More than 50% of caucus goers supported the president. And again, that put him on a glide path to the GOP nomination in 2024. So all political roads run through Iowa. The president's not running for a third term because he can't, but he really has a lot of affection for that state that really launched his White House ambitions. And we know that there are several competitive races too, and Republicans there who can probably use a boost of support from President Trump and his supporters. The real question is, how closely will President Trump stick to his script? We know that he likes to go off message. He calls it the weave, bobbing between different topics. So it's really up to him in terms of how much he focuses on this message. But we know this is the purpose and the focus of this visit, is to talk about what his administration has done for the economy and to help everyday Americans afford the necessities.
We mentioned talking about the economy and energy, but do we have any more specifics on where this conversation will go?
Well, one thing I'll be looking out for is to see if the president says anything to reassure farmers in Iowa who have been battered by the tariffs and the trade wars that the president has launched. We've spoken to soybean farmers across the Midwest, including in states like Iowa, who have struggled to sell their products after Chinese consumers basically decided to cut off all American imports of soybeans over the president's trade policies. So will he send any messages, announce any policies to help give them a little bit of relief? And for the farmers who produce corn and ethanol, there is a big debate on Capitol Hill right now about whether ethanol gasoline should be sold year-round. This is something that is only allowed during certain parts of the year. We know Republicans from the Midwest, especially Iowa, have been trying to pass a bill that would allow the year-round sale of this, which would obviously be a boon to Iowa farmers in the ethanol business. So I'll be looking out to see if the president makes any news there too.
Iowa's first congressional district could be a matchup that we've seen before. That's if Miller Meeks and Christina Bohannon win both of their primaries. How important is this district to the overall makeup of the House?
Well, this district is a very competitive seat, one of the most closely contested seats in the country. We know last time this election was held, Congresswoman Miller Meeks won by just about 800 votes, and she's had some really close elections in the past, too. And Democrats have recently won this seat. We saw Democrats flip this seat after the 2018 midterms during President Trump's first term. So this is a very competitive part of the country, and it matters even more now because of the margins in the House. The margins are just so thin and small. Democrats need to only flip 3 seats and hold all their current seats to win control of the House. That's a very slim majority for Republicans. So really the GOP can't afford to lose any seats. So they'll be defending incumbents like Congresswoman Miller Meeks, and which puts this district really at the center of the fight for Congress next year.
What other big races are you watching as we approach election season?
I think it'll be interesting to see how President Trump plays in some of these Republican primaries and Senate races. We know in Texas they will vote in the beginning of March, and there's a 3-way race there between current Senator John Cornyn, Attorney General Ken Paxton, and Congressman Wesley Hunt. They all say that they are very close to the president, but so far he has not stepped into that race. But he did step in to another primary. He encouraged Julia Letlow, a congresswoman from Louisiana, to run for Senate in the race against Bill Cassidy, a sitting senator who voted to convict Donald Trump in the 2021 impeachment. So that is another race, and the question will be, how much does the president insert himself into some of these other primaries going forward?
Thanks for your insight today, Ben.
Thank you.